Hi guys, this is Sudhir and I'm back with one more video this week. So this week we'll be talking about invention and inventors series. So we will take one topic today and we will talk about the inventor and what inventions it did and how it affected or it changed the world. Okay, so this is an invention and inventor series. So let's dive in. Okay, so today's topic I have taken is the automobile. It's a very interesting topic, right? It changed the entire world. So we will speak about how this automobile was invented and who invented it and how it solved the problem of transportation, personal transportation. Okay, so let's dive in. So uh, we will start with a scenario. Imagine a world without cars, no morning commute, no road trips, no traffic jams. Actually, maybe that one sounds good, right? I mean, that one sounds nice, right? It's very calm and peaceful and quiet everywhere. But seriously, no ambulances reaching hospitals on time, no truck deliveries delivering food to cities, no freedom to just go anywhere you wish. It's today's world, moves on four wheels, but it wasn't always like this. And the story of how we got here is not about billion-dollar corporation or a government project. Is about one stubborn engineer, his devoted wife, and an invention that world wasn't ready for. Welcome to my channel, guys. And today the story of automobile and the man who literally put the world in motion. So let's set the context. So the year is 1844. The place is Moelburg, Germany. Europe during this time was in the middle of industrial revolution. Steam engines are powering factories and railways, but personal transportation still entirely dependent on horses. And horses, as magnificent they are, have a few limitations. They eat, they rest, they get sick, they cost a fortune, right? They are just like any other animals, and they have their limitations. They cannot go on forever, right? They need to rest, they need to eat, they need to have they need to have some time to get recharged. So that was the problem. And so here's the question people were asking: can we build a machine that moves on its own, without tracks, without horses? This was the problem statement at that time, and many tried solving this problem. Uh, People used steam powered carriages. They developed the steam powered engines, but it was very heavy, dangerous, and impractical to use. So, what the world needed was something lighter, smarter, and powered by a cleaner source of energy. And then entered a young engineer with a burning obsession, Karl Friedrich Benz, the inventor, Karl Benz. So we will talk about the Karl Benz, how he was born, where he was born, and what was his story. We will just talk a little bit about his background. So Karl Benz was born in 1844 to a railway engineer father. His father was a railway engineer, and his father died when Karl was just 2 years old. Okay, and his mother Josephine then raised him as a single mother, then sacrificed everything to give him an education. And from a very young age, Karl had one goal. He had a deep obsession to build a vehicle that run on its own power. That was his dream when he was young. So think about this ambition for a second. In a world where self-propelled vehicles sounded like a pure fantasy, but this young man from a modest background said, "I'm going to build one." So that was his desire. He had that burning desire. He wanted to build something he dreamt. So he wanted to accomplish his dream. So he had the courage to pursue his dream. And most people These days they don't follow their dreams, they don't have that courage. It is very lacking in the current generation. So yeah, let's move ahead. Think about, you know no okay, after graduating from a mechanical engineering degree, Benz worked in several iron foundries and engineering firms. But his mind was always elsewhere. He was sketching engines designs, obsessing over how combustion works, dreaming of horseless carriages. And by the 1870s, he started his own business. So, like every young engineer or the person who has great ambitions, he also had this dream of starting something of his own, and he started his own business. He named the business as Benz and Company. In German, it's written Benz and C. Okay, and his main goal was, to develop a reliable gas powered engine, not a steam powered engine but a gas powered engine. But building a new business and funding experimental research, that's a recipe for financial disaster. And sure enough, Benz struggled a lot. Creditors came knocking, investor pulled out. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Carl Benz had a secret weapon, his wife Bertha. So, yeah, the next thing we will talk about the invention. Benz uh, named his invention as Benz patent, motor wagon. After years of relentless iteration, Carl Benz completed his masterpiece in 1885, the Benz Patent Motor Wagon Model 1. That was the name he gave for his invention, and then we will talk about this invention a little bit, about the features and why it mattered. We will talk about it. Okay, so the features which contained in this motor wagon was, it had a single cylindrical four-stroke engine. So this was first true internal combustion engine designed for a vehicle and not adapted for industrial use. And it had a three-wheel design. It solved steering complexity. A differential mechanism allowed smooth turning. Electric ignition, for more reliable than hot uh, far more reliable than a hot tube ignition used in early steam engines. So this was the use of electric ignitions in automobile. Then water cooled engine, it prevented overheating, a critical safety and durability innovation. And then chain drive transmission, efficiently transferred engine powered to the rear wheels, and engineering first for vehicles. And on January 29, 1886, Benz received a patent number 37435 from the German Imperial Patent Office. This is widely recognized as the birth certificate of automobiles. Okay, so we'll move on. The next section is how this patent, Benz struggled to market his product. He didn't know, he built a prototype, but he didn't know how to sell that prototype, and people was not, interested in the this prototype. And so here comes the Bertha's legendary road trip, which um, marketed his product, and this was a very interesting story. So it's a kind of a twist that nobody expected. So despite the patent, nobody was buying the motor wagon. People thought it was a novelty, it was a toy, and it was a dangerous contraption. And the Carl was losing hope. The business was bleeding money. And then Bertha Benz made a decision that changed everything. On the morning of August 15th, 1888, without telling Carl, Bertha packed up her two teenage sons, climbed into the motor wagon, and drove 104 kilometers from town to another town. So the town name was Manham to Forsheim. It was the longest automobile journey ever attempted, and she did it completely unannounced, and along the way, she solved problems on the fly, literally inventing solutions in the field. She faced problems like fuel was running out. She stopped at a pharmacy in VS Lodge, which became the world's first fuel station, and she faced ignition wire shortage problems. She used her garter to insulate it, engineering improvised. She faced brakes were worning out quickly. She had a cobbler and added leather strips, inventing brake pads on the spot. Then another problem, hills were too steep. She pushed the car herself up steep gradients with her while her sons steered the vehicles. And when Bertha reached Fawzem, she sent Karl a telegram. The public reaction was immediate and electric. People had seen the car, they wanted it. Bertha's trip was the world's first automotive road test and the greatest piece of guerrilla marketing history. And this created the ripple effect. Once the automobile existed, the world began reshaping itself around it, and fast. So in 1908, just 22 years after Benz patent, Henry Ford came into the picture. He launched the Model 8, Model T Ford vehicle and introduced the assembly line, making cars affordable for ordinary people. Roads were built, cities expanded, suburbs were born, entire industries, oil, rubber, steel, insurance, fast food, were restructured around the automobile, and by 2023, there are over 1.4 billion vehicles on the road globally. But as we always ask, every invention has two sides. One is positive impact of the invention, and another is unintended consequence of the invention. So that is that can be, that is there for every invention you see out there. It has some side effects, it has some consequences, unintended consequences, and it has some positive impact in life of the people. So it is common. So nowadays you can see that AI is coming. It is having some positive impact on the society, and it is having unintended consequences as well. So that is, you should remember that every invention has two sides, good sides, bad sides. Okay, so we will look at the positive impact of automobile. The invention of automobile improved, personal freedom and mobility for billions. Global trade and supply chains improved drastically. uh, Also the healthcare access to the people and emergency services improved a lot. Economic growth, because of this economic growth and millions of jobs, new jobs were created. And then unintended consequences, it created air pollution and climate change, and urban congestion and infrastructure costs also increased because of uh, number of vehicles on the road now, and in the country, in the state, in the cities. Because of that congestion that was meant to happen, now you can see there is a lot of traffics and jams and everything. Because of that, there is the consequences of this invention. And there is one more like huge consequence of this invention. There are over 1.3 million road deaths annually caused just because of vehicles, because of these automobiles. And the one more limitation is it is dependent heavily on fossil fuels like petrol and a diesel. So which is a non-renewable resource, which is available in limited quantity, and we have just used 30% of the entire fossil fuels in just last one decade. So within the next decade, we are gonna completely wiped out the entire fossil fuels, which took millions and millions of years to develop under the surface of earth. And we are emptying it out, this resource, very very quickly. So that's a huge problem. If you want to go think in terms of long term perspective, then fossil fuels won't be sufficient. we need to come up with new technologies, just like electrical vehicles are coming up, right? So that is solving that problem of long term. Okay, then, so what are the lessons we can learn from the story of Carl Benz and Bertha and the invention of automobile? What we can learn? So lesson number one: obsession always beats talent. Benz wasn't born rich or well connected, but he was obsessed with the idea. He spent decades on the one idea, and that obsession outlasted every setback. Lesson 2: the right partner is everything. Without Bata's courage, business acumen, and the legendary road trip, the motor wagon might have been forgotten. Behind every great invention is often a team, not a solo genius. Lesson number 3: a product without marketing is invisible. Benz had a patent, he had the vehicle, but the people didn't believe in it until they saw it working in the real world over like 100 kilometers it ran. And what it suggests, it says that proof of concept is everything. So the next morning, when you sit in the car or even see one pass by on the road, remember this: it didn't just appear, it was dreamed, obsessed over, failed at, nearly abandoned, and then bravely driven 104 kilometers by a woman who believed it. So, this is the Woman's Day special YouTube video. This was by a woman. She drive that automobile for 104 kilometers with her children. So that's the real story of the automobile, and honestly, that's the real story of every great invention. If you found this video helpful, insightful, hit subscribe, because every week we are gonna unpack the stories behind the inventions that shaped the entire world. We covered so far the light bulb, printing press, transistor. So yeah, this is the fourth video and we are just getting started. See you in the next one. uh, Bye bye.